Alaska is a place where nature feels larger than life. Mountains rise so high they seem to touch the heavens. Glaciers stretch endlessly like rivers of ice, and forests hum with the energy of wildlife at every turn. This is the land where the northern lights dance across the night sky in vibrant ribbons of color, and rivers teem with salmon on their epic journey upstream. It's a world where Kodiak bears rule the wilderness, and the roar of calving glaciers echoes through pristine fjords. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to step into a place so wild and untouched, it feels like another planet? You can't help but be amazed at its sheer size and beauty. It's the largest state in the United States, covering an area so vast that it's bigger than Texas, California, and Montana combined. Imagine a land stretching over 500,000 square miles, most of it untouched and wild. It's no wonder they call Alaska the last frontier. It's one of those places where you feel small in the best possible way. What sets Alaska apart is how remote it is. Most of the state isn't even accessible by road. You either have to hop on a small plane, board a ferry, or trek through its rugged wilderness to explore its hidden corners. This isn't your typical travel destination where highways connect you to tourist spots. Here, adventure begins the moment you step off the beaten path. And that's part of its charm. Its inaccessibility makes it feel like a treasure only a few get to uncover. The coastline of Alaska is something extraordinary. It's longer than the rest of the United States coastlines combined. That's a mind-boggling fact, isn't it? The beaches may not be the kind where you lay out under the sun sipping a cold drink, but they have their unique charm. The cold, rugged beauty of Alaska's shoreline offers opportunities for adventures like whale watching, fishing, or simply soaking in the scenery. The water here is teeming with life, from seals and sea otters to humpback whales breaching in the distance. Glaciers are another feature that makes Alaska feel like it belongs in a fairy tale. Picture Taku Glacier, located near Juneau, which is over 4,800 feet thick and stretches for about 36 miles. What's fascinating about Taku is that it's one of the few glaciers in the world that's still growing, thanks to the unique weather patterns in the area. Then there's the Matanuska Glacier, a stunning expanse of ice that's easy to visit by road. Its bright turquoise hues and towering ice walls make it look otherworldly, as though you've stepped into a frozen paradise. Walking on one of these glaciers, hearing the crackle of ice beneath your feet, and feeling the chilly air is an experience you won't forget. Alaska's volcanic landscape is equally captivating. The Aleutian Islands, a chain of volcanic peaks stretching into the Pacific, are a sight to behold. Imagine jagged cliffs rising dramatically from the ocean, their peaks often shrouded in mist. Mount Makushin, an active volcano on Unalaska Island, stands as a testament to the state's fiery geological past. These volcanoes aren't just relics of ancient times. Many are still active, adding an element of raw power to Alaska's already dramatic scenery. Despite its image as a cold and barren land, Alaska's diversity is staggering. The state boasts everything from the icy waters of the Arctic Ocean in the north to lush rainforests in the southeast's Inside Passage. You'll find towering snow-capped peaks in the Alaska Range, dense forests in the Tongass National Forest, and wide-open tundras that seem to stretch endlessly. Each region has its own character, its own story, and its own way of captivating you. Even Alaska's seasons are extreme. In winter, the landscape transforms into a snowy wonderland, and nights are illuminated by the magical aurora borealis. Summers, on the other hand, brings almost endless daylight, known as the midnight sun, where the skies never fully darken. This abundance of light fuels the land, making it bloom with wildflowers and greenery. The contrast between the two seasons is dramatic, and experiencing both feels like visiting two completely different worlds within the same place. What truly makes Alaska special is the way it invites you to connect with nature on a deep level. Whether you're hiking through its untouched wilderness, kayaking along its turquoise rivers, or simply standing in awe of a glacier, the landscape has a way of humbling you. It reminds you of the Earth's power and beauty, and that's not something you find everywhere. Imagine standing in a place where nature's raw power and beauty surround you, where every direction you look feels like stepping into a postcard. That's exactly what Alaska's national parks and protected areas are like. These spaces are more than just chunks of preserved land. They're living, breathing stories of the planet's history, ecosystems, and the delicate balance of life. Denali National Park is one of those places that feels almost mythical. It's home to Denali, the highest peak in North America, towering at 20,310 feet. The mountain is so massive that it creates the weather. The name Denali comes from the Koyukun Athabascan people, meaning the high one, which feels incredibly fitting when you see it in person. The park spans over 6 million acres, a space so vast it's hard to wrap your head around. Driving into Denali feels like entering another world, one where the wilderness is untouched and pristine. Access to most of the park is limited to a single road, and even that road only allows vehicles up to a certain point. It's a way to protect the fragile ecosystem and give visitors an unspoiled experience. Denali isn't just about the mountain, it's alive with wildlife. Imagine watching a grizzly bear forage for berries, or spotting a herd of caribou crossing the tundra. Golden eagles soar overhead, and wolves roam the wilderness. Every creature here has its place, and watching them go about their lives is like witnessing nature's choreography. The quiet of the park is almost sacred, broken only by the sounds of wind, rushing streams, or the occasional howl of a wolf. Kenai Fjords National Park offers a completely different, yet equally jaw-dropping experience. This park is where mountains meet the sea, and glaciers seem to spill right into the ocean. The Harding Icefield is the crown jewel here, a vast expanse of ice that feeds dozens of glaciers. One of the most popular ones to visit is Exit Glacier, which you can walk right up to. Standing at the base of a glacier is humbling. It's like seeing time itself frozen in place. The park is also a haven for marine life. Whales breach in the icy waters, puffins nest along rocky cliffs, and sea lions bask on the shoreline. Whether you're kayaking through the fjords or taking a boat tour, the sense of adventure here is unmatched. Glacier Bay National Park is another wonder that feels like a dream. The name alone gives you an idea of what to expect: an expanse of water dotted with massive glaciers. As you approach by boat, the sound of ice calving off the glaciers and crashing into the water is both thunderous and awe-inspiring. The park covers over 3 million acres and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for its unique combination of natural beauty and scientific value. It's not just the glaciers that are fascinating. The waters are alive with humpback whales and seals, while the shores are frequented by bears and moose. It's a reminder of how interconnected these ecosystems are. Katmai National Park might be the most rugged and remote of them all. It's best known for the iconic image of bears catching salmon at Brooks Falls. Watching this in person is like stepping into a wildlife documentary. The park is home to over 2,200 brown bears, and during the summer salmon runs, they gather in droves to feast. It's a surreal experience to stand on a platform just feet away from these massive creatures as they expertly swipe fish out of the rushing water. Beyond the bears, Katmai also features the Valley of 10,000 Smokes, a surreal volcanic landscape left behind after the eruption of Nova Rupta in 1912. When you think of Alaska, one of the first things that comes to mind is its incredible wildlife. It's the kind of place where nature feels untamed, and the animals that roam these vast landscapes remind you of what life might have been like before human interference. From the ocean to the mountains, Alaska is alive with creatures that make it feel like a living, breathing storybook. Kodiak bears are among the most fascinating residents of this wild land. Found on Kodiak Island, these bears are the largest brown bear subspecies in the world. Picture a bear standing on its hind legs, reaching up 10 feet tall and weighing as much as 1,400 pounds. It's not just their size that's impressive, it's their presence. Watching one of these bears fish for salmon is like watching an artist at work, their massive paws swiping effortlessly as they pull up wriggling catch from the rushing water. Despite their size and power, Kodiak bears are shy creatures. There have been surprisingly few human encounters that end badly, but locals and visitors alike take precautions to respect their space. These bears are more than a sight to see, they're a symbol of the wilderness that defines Alaska. It's not just the bears that make Alaska special. The waters around this state are teeming with marine life, offering some of the best whale watching opportunities in the world. Imagine standing on the deck of a boat, the cold wind on your face, as a humpback whale breaches right in front of you. These giants of the ocean, often weighing around 40 tons, leap into the air with a grace that seems impossible for their size. Beluga whales, with their playful nature and bright white color, are also a common sight in places like Turnagain Arm. They travel in pods, and seeing a group of them moving together is like watching a synchronized dance in the water. Sea otters are another crowd favorite. These adorable creatures are often seen floating on their backs, using their chests as a dining table for cracking open shellfish. Despite their cute appearance, they are vital to the ecosystem, keeping the population of sea urchins in check to protect kelp forests. Alaska's coastline is also home to harbor seals, often seen lounging on rocky shores or swimming gracefully in the icy waters. It's hard not to smile when you catch a glimpse of their curious faces peeking above the surface. The bird life in Alaska is just as diverse and awe-inspiring. Bald eagles, with their piercing eyes and majestic wingspans, are everywhere. It's not uncommon to see one perched high on a tree or swooping down to catch a fish from a river. Puffins, with their colorful beaks, nest along the cliffs, adding a splash of color to the rugged coastline. For birdwatchers, Alaska is a dream, offering the chance to see everything from sandhill cranes to snowy owls. Alaska's cities are unlike any others. They're small by most standards, but what they lack in size, they make up with character and their connection to the surrounding wilderness. These urban hubs are where modern conveniences meet the raw beauty of the last frontier. Each city has its own story, its personality, and its way of making you feel like you're stepping into something special. Anchorage is the biggest city in Alaska, and it's often the first stop for people exploring the state. It's a vibrant place with just about everything you'd expect from a city: museums, galleries, restaurants. But it doesn't feel like any other urban area. That's because Anchorage is surrounded by breathtaking landscapes that make it impossible to forget you're in Alaska. Whether you're gazing at the Chugach Mountains or walking along the shorelines of Cook Inlet, the city feels more like a gateway to adventure than a typical urban center. One moment, you're sipping coffee in a cozy cafe, and the next, you're hiking a nearby trail or spotting wildlife in the woods just minutes from downtown. What makes Anchorage even more interesting is its history. It started as a construction hub for the Alaska Railroad in 1915, and it grew rapidly from there. Over the years, the city has faced challenges like the devastating 1964 earthquake, the largest ever recorded in North America. Despite that, Anchorage rebuilt itself and continued to thrive, becoming the cultural and economic heart of the state. Today, it's the place where locals and tourists alike gather to celebrate everything that makes Alaska unique. Juneau, the state capital, is completely different. For one thing, you can't drive there. The only way to reach Juneau is by plane or boat, which gives it a sense of isolation that adds to its charm. The city sits along the Inside Passage, surrounded by rainforests, glaciers, and waterways. Even though it's the capital, Juneau feels like a small town where everyone knows each other. Its downtown area is a mix of prehistoric buildings and modern touches, and it's easy to spend hours wandering the streets, exploring shops, and learning about its gold rush past. The natural beauty around Juneau is hard to describe. It's just that stunning. The Mendenhall Glacier is one of the most popular attractions, and it's just a short drive from downtown. Imagine standing at the edge of a massive ice field with waterfalls and dense forests all around you. It's the kind of place where you feel like you've stepped into a painting. Beyond the glacier, there's whale watching, kayaking, and even dog sledding on the nearby ice fields. Everything about Juneau feels like an invitation to explore. Fairbanks is another city that deserves attention, and it couldn't be more different from Juneau. Located in the interior of Alaska, Fairbanks is often called the Golden Heart City. That nickname fits, not just because of its gold rush history, but because the city feels warm and welcoming, even in the middle of winter. Fairbanks is the place to go if you want to see the northern lights. From September to April, the skies often light up with waves of green, purple, and yellow dancing across the stars. It's a magical experience that stays with you long after you leave. These places are where you find a quieter pace of life, often tucked away in stunning landscapes that feel untouched by time. Each town has its own story, and visiting them is like peeling back the layers of what makes Alaska so unique. There are places where you can feel the heartbeat of the state, away from the buzz of bigger towns like Anchorage or Juneau. Talkeetna is one of those places that stays with you long after you leave. It's a quirky little town nestled at the base of Denali, about a 2-hour drive from Anchorage. With a population of just over 1,000 people, Talkeetna is small, but it's bursting with personality. Walking down its main street feels like stepping back in time. The buildings are old and charming, with signs that seem hand-painted and welcoming. Local shops sell everything from handcrafted souvenirs to mouth-watering baked goods. Talkeetna's vibe is laid back and artsy, and it's easy to see why so many artists call this place home. What makes Talkeetna special is its connection to Denali. It's a hub for climbers attempting to summit the massive peak, and the town buzzes with adventurous energy during the climbing season. Even if you're not scaling mountains, there's plenty to do here. Flight-seeing tours offer breathtaking views of Denali and the surrounding wilderness. Imagine soaring over the glaciers, seeing the mountain's snowy peaks up close, and feeling like you're touching the edge of the world. If you prefer staying on the ground, some trails wind through the forest, offering quiet moments to soak in the beauty around you. Palmer, another gem in Alaska's small-town landscape, is the kind of place that surprises you. Located in the Matanuska Valley, just a short drive from Anchorage, it's known for its rich agricultural heritage. Unlike much of Alaska, Palmer's soil is fertile, and the town's farming roots run deep. This is where you'll find the famous giant vegetables that grow under Alaska's endless summer sunlight. At the annual Alaska State Fair, you can see cabbages and pumpkins that look like they belong in a fairy tale. Palmer's history is tied to a New Deal-era government project that brought families to Alaska during the Great Depression to start farming. Many of those families stayed, and their descendants still live here, giving the town a strong sense of community and tradition. Beyond its agricultural charm, Palmer offers incredible hiking trails and outdoor activities. The views of the surrounding mountains are breathtaking, especially on a clear day when the peaks seem to go on forever. Girdwood is another small town that feels like a slice of heaven. Tucked in a valley surrounded by 7 glaciers, Girdwood is about 40 minutes south of Anchorage. It started as a gold mining town, but has since become a haven for outdoor enthusiasts. The Alyeska Resort is the centerpiece of Girdwood, drawing skiers and snowboarders from around the world. Even if you're not hitting the slopes, the resort's tram ride offers stunning views of the Turnagain Arm and the surrounding peaks. Alaska's waterways and highways are like lifelines connecting its rugged wilderness to the people who call it home and the adventurers who come to explore. These are not just practical routes, they are the journeys in themselves, winding through landscapes so stunning they feel like they belong in a movie. Whether you're gliding across serene fjords, fishing in crystal-clear rivers, or driving along highways that seem to stretch into infinity, these experiences become memories that stick with you forever. The Kenai River is one of the most beautiful rivers in Alaska and a paradise for anglers. Flowing for about 82 miles from Kenai Lake to Cook Inlet, its waters are a striking shade of turquoise that almost doesn't look real. People come from all over the world to fish here, especially during the salmon runs. The river is home to several types of salmon, including the famous king salmon, which can grow to impressive sizes. Watching anglers lined up along the banks during the season is a sight in itself. It's not just about the fishing though. The river is surrounded by lush forests and dramatic mountains, making it a perfect spot for kayaking, rafting, or simply soaking in the scenery. Valdez and the nearby Prince William Sound offer another kind of water adventure. The Sound is famous for its dramatic fjords, where towering cliffs meet the sea and glaciers carve their way through the landscape. Taking a boat tour here is like stepping into a different world. You'll see waterfalls cascading down rocky cliffs, seals lounging on icebergs, and maybe even a humpback whale breaching in the distance. Valdez itself is a charming little town with a rich history tied to fishing and the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. It's the perfect base for exploring the area, whether you're kayaking through the fjords or trekking out to see the massive Columbia Glacier. The Seward Highway is one of the most scenic roads in Alaska, if not the entire world. It stretches for about 125 miles from Anchorage to Seward, winding its way along the Turnagain Arm and through the Chugach Mountains. Driving this highway is like being on a constant sightseeing tour. One minute you're passing marshlands where you might spot a moose or a flock of sandhill cranes, and the next you're looking up at snow-capped peaks that seem to touch the sky. The views are so spectacular that you'll find yourself pulling over at every chance to take pictures. Along the way, there are plenty of places to stop, whether it's to hike a trail, explore a small town, or just breathe in the fresh mountain air. The Dalton Highway, on the other hand, is for those looking for a true adventure. Known as Alaska Route 11, this highway stretches 414 miles from Livengood to Deadhorse, near the Arctic Ocean. It's not your typical road trip. The Dalton Highway is remote, rugged, and challenging, but that's exactly what makes it so incredible. It's a journey through vast tundra, over towering mountain passes, and alongside the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. Along the way, you'll have a chance to see wildlife like caribou, moose, and grizzly bears. It's the kind of drive where you feel like you're leaving civilization behind and stepping into a world that hasn't been changed for thousands of years. It's also a land rich in history and culture, with stories that stretch back thousands of years. The indigenous peoples of Alaska have a connection to the land that goes beyond mere survival. It's a bond rooted in respect, tradition, and an understanding of the natural world that has been passed down through generations. Walking through Alaska, you feel their presence in every totem pole, sacred site, and traditional village, as if the land itself whispers their stories. The Tlingit, Haida, and Aleut peoples are just a few of the indigenous groups that have called Alaska home for millennia. Each group has its unique traditions, but they all share a deep respect for the environment and the creatures that inhabit it. Totem poles are one of the most striking symbols of this culture. These towering carvings aren't just decorative, they tell stories. Each figure on a totem pole represents a part of a legend, a family's lineage, or even a historical event. In places like Ketchikan, you can see some of the world's tallest and most intricate totem poles. Walking among them feels like stepping into a living museum where every carving has a tale to tell. Ketchikan's Totem Bight State Historical Park is one of the best places to experience this tradition up close. Here, restored totem poles and a replica clan house stand as a tribute to the artistry and storytelling of the Tlingit and Haida peoples. As you wander through the park, you can almost hear the echoes of the past, imagining the ceremonies and gatherings that might have taken place there. It's a humbling reminder of how rich and complex Alaska's history is, long before the arrival of European settlers. Sitka, another treasure trove of history, was once the capital of Russian America. This coastal town on Baranof Island is where the United States officially took control of Alaska in 1867, during the transfer ceremony that marked the end of Russian rule. Walking through Sitka, you can see the blend of cultures everywhere. St. Michael's Cathedral, with its distinctive iron domes, stands as a reminder of the Russian Orthodox influence. Inside, the cathedral is filled with icons and artifacts that tell the story of the Russian settlers who made Sitka their home. But Sitka's history goes much deeper than its Russian past. The Tlingit people lived here long before Russian ships ever arrived, and their presence is still felt strongly today. The Sitka National Historical Park is a place where the Tlingit and Russian histories intersect. The park commemorates the 1804 Battle of Sitka, a pivotal moment in Alaska's history, while also celebrating the resilience and culture of the Tlingit people. Walking through the park, surrounded by towering totem poles and lush forests, you can feel the layers of history blending. Moving further into Alaska's past, the Aleutian Islands have their own fascinating story. These volcanic islands, stretching nearly 2,000 miles into the Pacific, have been home to the Aleut people for thousands of years. The Aleut, or Unangan, are masterful seafarers with a culture deeply tied to the ocean. Archaeological sites on the island reveal evidence of their ingenious ways of surviving in such a harsh environment, from crafting tools out of bone to building semi-subterranean homes that protected them from the elements. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.